and pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, y'all have to help me. I've been reminded to speak slowly and clearly to get it into the recording device, and I'm going to keep my mask on, so except maybe for John and Eldridge. We'll see. I have two announcements. One, we had an executive session on October 24th regarding a personnel matter, and we had a meeting with PennDOT regarding the replacement of the Birch Run Bridge at Hollow Road to hear their preliminary thoughts on it. I would like to approve the minutes of October 17th. Do you think I could get a motion?
I would definitely make that motion.
And I will second it. Any comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, this says we now have a police report. Sergeant Austin. Sergeant Russell, I'm sorry. It's never happened to you before.
Good enough. Okay, the October U.S. Citizen Township Police Report. No training for the month of October. Summary totals, number of calls for service, 302. Number of crimes investigated, 9. Number of arrests, 3. Disorderly conduct, twice. And public drunkenness. Number of accidents investigated, 11. No traffic stops, 93.
Thank you.
Well,
You've been really trying to keep our speed now, right? Thank you. Next on the agenda is a presentation of the 2021 audit. Eve, are you here?
No.
I don't see you. Well, let's save time. I'd like to announce that the township is accepting letters of interest for residents to serve on township committees. Letters could be sent to Kathy Schillen, township secretary, and there is a volunteer application online that you can fill out and submit online. We could stick in the puppy pictures now.
Okay. Great. We have Santa is going to be coming on December 10th to the township building. We're going to have right here at the township building. Santa's coming on December 10th, going to 3 to do photos with pets. And that will be a free event.
Okay.
I make the motion to approve the bills list for all township expenditures in the amount of $2,727,719.74.
I second that. Any discussion? Barry, can you come up to the microphone?
Should be online.
It was supposed to be.
No,
I thought
no,
it
no.
was listed.
It's right here. The billing summary. Oh, right here.
Is it in the billing summary?
It's the billing summary.
I thought it was.
Yes.
oh, okay.
Thank you. So you had no question beyond that right there?
No.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. I think I'm going from two to three.
Right.
It should be 3.
I'm going to number 3 and ask for a treasurer's report.
Jeremy, the ARPA fund had a balance at the end of the month of $104,408.84. General fund $1,971,230.60. The open space fund $2,775,931.56. Liquid fuels $130,469.46. Capital road fund $4,570,137.53. Capital project reserve fund $2,435,414.59. Capital equipment $447,200.80. Sewer fund $163,651.03, and rebuild fund $730,195.81. The total fund balance is $13,349,240.22.
Any questions? Charlie, step up to the mic.
Yeah, Eldridge, 1634 Hilltop Road, Brookville. I sort of pay attention. I didn't print this out today because it was like 67 pages or something. And so I came to the meeting, sort of prepared to talk about that. But there are so many little nitpicking things that go on here. I think that have to be addressed, first off, like the dates here are, that's the bills list date, and they put it on the summary of funds. And throughout, they put this in portrait, and then the rest is in landscape, and if you turn one on your computer, it turns the other, so you always get portrait and landscape reports. There's no budget in here, it's just regular year-to-date, month and year-to-date. It's probably the first time I've seen the month numbers in here, month and year-to-date, so that's a good thing. But it needs to be cleaned up. And then the September one, I went back to that, which was this one. That hasn't been fixed. It was posted back online again, and the errors are still there. So you can't use that. It's sort of hard to get follow month, year to date. And one accounting comment I would make is that the general fund has made an income of $1,000,003 year to date against a budget of $55,000. So there's a lot of money that either didn't get paid out for services that we were budgeted for, or there's a lot more income. I didn't get to study that because I didn't get all this out today. Thank you.
I apologize for the monthly report, John. I thought it was in the packet. It will be posted online tomorrow. Just to remind everyone, the township has pays its debt service payments in December, and that's over $500,000. And we also owe, we have in reserve $100,000 for the Leatherridge Corner Fire Company to help them pay for a fire truck. So that payment may or may not be made this year, depends on when they get delivered. But the debt service payment will definitely be paid. That's why there's $1,000,000 in that, because you won't pay that much in paid debt service.
Are the debt service payments for all the funds out of the general fund? Or were they from the funds where the money was borrowed to support?
Most of it is out of the general fund. A smaller part of it is out of the open space fund.
Hi, Barry Deliver. This may not be the right place to ask this, right time. Just want to follow up on a question from 2 months ago or so.
Right.
Thing that John asked. Negative zero, the negative interest, what was sort of that?
It was a posting error, we reported it last month, and it was corrected in this month.
Okay, thanks, I couldn't make it.
That's all right.
I appreciate it, thank you.
Any other comments? Would you like us to formally accept it?
Yes, please.
Make a motion.
To accept it,
Accept the treasurer's
and I will second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, the next,
Chairman, in addition to the, items on the agenda, work extensively with some of the committees to, further their progress on different projects. We are working very hard on year-end closeout and beginning of the year work. That's primarily what we did this past month.
any questions, comments? Could I have a motion to accept the manager's?
I would like to make a motion that we accept the manager's report.
I will second that. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Okay, there is nothing under old business. And the next item is the approval of resolution number 28 of 2022, minor subdivision land development, Hampton Harbor. Is there someone here to present that?
Good evening. My name is Mike Persick. I'm a project manager with Persick and Associates. I'm here tonight on behalf of Campanapa to introduce you to the plan. We have submitted copies. I'm not sure if you had a chance to view it. This is just a copy of the plan we have submitted. This cover sheet or sheet 1 shows the overall boundaries of Campanapa's property. Campanapa Tree Center is located at 712 Pewtown Road, which is just east of Route 100. Been there for quite some time. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the property. I believe this year they're celebrating the 94th year of administration. That's the camp administration. Off of Pewtown Road, which is kind of the main frontage of the property, there's a road accessing into the interior of the property where they have several cabins, activity centers. They have everything from outdoor basketball courts, and French Creek cuts through the property along the westerly side. So they have all the creek frontage area. We also have activities campers as well. To the southwest corner on Burlette School Road is Stephen Gretz's property. He's the other individual involved with the subdivision. And just to kind of simply sum up what we're attempting to do here is there's a portion of the camp, roughly 25 acres, on the westerly side of French Creek that Mr. Gretz is looking to annex to his property. He has a small, I think it's a total of 4 acres down this corner here that is in West Vincent Township. So that's why we're here tonight. And he's looking to annex this parcel here to his property from Burlette School Road. That's just a brief summary of the plan and the intentions of the camp. So I can answer any questions that you have.
The 25 acres is in East Vincent or South Coventry?
French Creek, which runs from north to south here, divides South Coventry to the west from East Vincent to the east.
And where Mr. Kretz lives now, it separates West Vincent.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. So Mr. Grant's West Vincent, the parcel he's acquiring in South Coventry, and then the remainder of the camp in East Vincent. So we've actually visited all 3 municipalities.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's been quite a month.
Do we have any, well, let me just, no questions from the board. Okay, John.
what's the purpose of the annex, of the 25 acres? To develop?
No, not at all. In fact, if you look at that parcel that lies in South Coventry, right, you know,
You want to turn it right.
existing, I mean, this shows all the features currently on the property. And if you got into look at this, is the main road, you can't go here. There's the property here in West Vincent, and this is the property here that's being annexed. And you can see all the gray shading all over that entire lot.
Yeah.
That's the lineage piece. If you haven't walked the property, it is basically the side of the building, 90% of the lot. And then because of French Creek here, you have two things going. You have wetlands along that stream. You also have the riparian buffer. So by the time you take out, which the township requires, you have to take out steep slopes, wetlands, riparian buffers. I didn't even get to look at the soils there on this, but by the time you take out all those features, it's basically nothing. He's simply looking at a recreational property.
Is he just buying that?
Yes. He's buying this piece now that belongs to the camp, and he's joining 4 acres. This piece will actually extend.
Julie, could you do the regular thing that you do?
Yeah, Julia Brandel, 2472 Flowing Springs Road. I actually know him and spoke with him. I think he's planning on putting it under conservation easement. Isn't that correct?
I did not speak to him about that.
Okay.
I started to see that.
That's what he told me.
Yes, of course.
So basically, I didn't realize exactly where it was. So it's on the same side of the creek as the current little cabin that he has. It's just,
If you walk from Burnett's School, you go down the hill,
Mhm.
and there's a stream that cuts across the property,
Mhm.
which meets French Creek.
right.
And then continues up. His little
Cabin.
cabin is right at the intersection of the stream.
Right.
Yeah, so it would be from that cabin, heading north with that property.
Would you like to make a motion?
I make the motion to adopt resolution number 28-2022, Prime subdivision land development of Campnava, 712 Q-Town Road, 15 Burdette School Road.
I second that motion. Any further comments? All in favor? Aye. Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So is that gonna be joined to it? And you're gonna erase the lot lines for that? Is that what we do, put them together?
Yes.
And will he have to go through all the same things that Tim Canady had to go through with the subdivision work and the engineering and all that again?
I expect not, but you could address that question to the engineer briefly.
Yeah, we've been through, at least 2 revisions to the plan of the township engineers. We've addressed his comments, we've surveyed the property, monumented the property corners, we've gone through the saldo, the zoning, everything.
So it'd be trail stuff, reserve for it and all that type of thing?
That property is not in West Vincent.
Oh, that's,
The 25 acres is in South.
oh, okay, so that doesn't have to do with West Vincent. That's
Just the existing property.
West Vincent, so it doesn't have to fall under the same thing when you add on that property because it's out of the township. Okay, great, thanks.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Um, I would like to acknowledge the receipt of the subdivision land development plan for the farmhouse, in Timberton, South Shore. The next item on the agenda is adoption of the 2023 preliminary budget.
Madam Chair, as I mentioned at the last meeting, the budget call and the tax increase this year provides for a number of projects, primarily including Apollo and Florida Springs Road. Hopefully, the construction of Lamont Park, if we can ever get the DCNR process and the construction of the trail as to the requirements. That's the primary project we've covered in the budget. Some equipment that we purchased, but the status quo is pretty much the same. That's next year's budget.
And your budget presentation from last month was up on the web right away, and the draft budget itself is posted there too.
That's it, yes.
Do we just skip this and discussion now and do the motion?
Good motion, sir.
I make the motion to adopt the 2023 preliminary budget.
I will second that. Now, any discussion from the table? Any discussion from the floor? John? I mean, and then either Julia or Barry. Oh,
I
okay.
didn't hear the police station get mentioned. I know in this budget, in this year's budget, I think there's $7 million to be borrowed for the police station. And I think that my comment is that there should be some work or some space provided for the police. Something this lavish as it was presented here one time seemed quite excessive.
I expect the discussion on the public safety complex will take up the majority of the year beyond anticipated going out for bid next year.
Any other comments, questions on the budget? Adoption of preliminary. It was for that, yeah. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Fine, thank you. Now we've got the fun one. May I have a motion to approve the release of the retainage amount for workforce construction Inc. in the amount of $9,498 for Tiverton Wood Ridgeway.
Make that motion.
I will second. Any questions, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next item to approve the corrected uniform MMO.
I make the motion to approve the corrected uniform MMO in the amount of $45,638.
Now the second. Any questions or discussions? Thank you.
MMO means the minimum municipal obligation the township is required to pay pension funds calculation for everybody at the same time.
And that's basically changed because of.
It's changed because of the board made a decision to add cost to the police and they created a position of corporals and paid them some more money, sergeants some more money. So that changed the MMO because it's largely based on salaries.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
While, make sure that, while the cost goes up, the cost is covered by the state, it increases the payment to the state, there's no cost of the township.
How about this? Next one. Take a flyer.
All righty, we'd like to acknowledge John Barnett and Steve Austin's resignation from the Sustainability Committee.
I'll make a motion to do that. You just second.
And I will second it.
Okay. soil ecology?
Yeah, I don't think we do, but
Okay,
if
right.
anyone wants, that's interested in sustainability, it's a great time to get your application in.
Two different reasons.
Well, basically, John Burnett is extremely overcommitted and a lot of other really important things that he's very involved in. And I think Steve Austin just, he's felt he had other pursuits that were better for him at this time. Yeah, nothing really going on, I just think that one couldn't handle it, and then find it.
And I'll do this one, I acknowledge the Reddy's resignation from the Human Relations. Question?
Same one.
Well, same thing, busy with other parts of her life. Next, we have the appointment of John Rice of Grimm Manufacturer as a special land use council at a compensation rate of $250 an hour. This is motion.
And I will make the motion to appoint John Rice Grimm from Grimm and Thatcher as special land use council at a rate of compensation in the amount of $250 per.
I'll second that. Any questions? Julia, would you use the microphone this time? We don't want to get people out of practice too much.
Yes, Julia Brendel, 2472 Flowing Springs Road. What exactly is that special land use council? What exactly do they do?
You represent the board in any land use matter, subdivision, land development. The firm, Grimm Thatcher, is a long-established firm in Bucks County. They're one of the very few firms in Philadelphia that do not represent development. So there will be no conflict with that. Okay? They represent municipalities. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we're going to get Steve in just a minute. So, that was a motion. I would like to call to the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, Steve, our audit presentation has just snuck in the back door.
Just in time.
Do you need a minute? Okay. So we're sliding back up to the presentation in the second on our agenda. And Steve, I'm not going to try your last name.
Good to flag this.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay.
All right.
This is the 2021 audit presentation.
Okay. Steve Kutzflack from our team for the company with partner. They oversaw the audit of the township for the year ended December 31st, 2021. We issued our reports in October. Did our audit for work in June and July. So we need the report should be on the website. They are the final format. We gave township statements in opinion or an unmodified opinion. The basis of the county is the modified code of the county. They made that change years ago. This is year two of it. Basically, what that means is they report all their short-term receivables and their short-term payables, their statements, and also paying as long-term. So that's really the basis of the county. As part of our audit, we did review the internal controls of the financial reporting. The first planning audit approach. That's part of risk assessment. We did, as part of the review of internal controls, issue a manual letter with some recommendations that we have with supervisors at an earlier meeting, so they're aware of them. And when you look at the reports, the things I want to go over some numbers. This year, the general fund of the year was a fund balance of $988,000. With fuel had some else at $79,000. Open space $2.5 million. Road improvement 5.1. Capital price 2.3. This year, a new fund was created for the capital equipment fund. And you fund $450,000. And then this past year, the township second bucket came in this past year. We could probably use it now for the same purposes. For that, so we didn't have any good claims with the audit process. We were a little bit delayed. The reason we were planning to schedule the audit, plans to start in March, but we didn't, not starting until May or June, to manage me more time. Other than that, questions high level.
Any questions?
Comments?
That's it.
I haven't thought of answering your question.
Where do I stand here? In the back?
Just share some of these points.
I had made up a list of comments. I sent them in to the office. February 24th, and then get forward to you.
I responded to them.
Pardon?
I responded to them. But we,
No, that's it, back to the comment.
I've never seen this.
when they came, I got them from John.
I sent,
Then I responded to John.
Okay.
I sent comments back to you.
You sent it to me?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't see it. It was interesting, it's sort of, I have a couple issues that maybe you want to discuss. First is, when you do this modified pool, you say it's not according to generally accepted accounting. If we borrow money, it's like people say, one, we don't buy it.
No, for years, you mean, there's plenty of times that they were at a lower rate than cash basis.
Cash basis can be, yeah.
Yeah. No. I don't think that your basic accounting is an impact on your borrowing rate. I can't say it for sure. I'm not sure that I'm not aware of this person where. Basic,
I guess another thing, just go over it. The township, income and your audit income is off, it varies by like $300,000. Last year it was $600,000 and maybe it's, more income, I guess this year maybe 300,000 more off.
yeah, it's based on like, and with the cash basis, you recognize the revenue. When you receive it, when you pay it. Under modified code, you're picking up things that came in after year end, paying the prior year.
But I see you reduce receivables, like,
It's not me, it's not me. These are management numbers. Keep on working with your audit. You cannot do the audit. These are management, I state it up in my.
well, then, did you give it an oversight review? You
Yes,
can't say
yes, but I'll say we reduce, that's not accurate statement.
the management review.
Yes, we audited that number, we were comfortable with it.
But it's interesting that the receivables go up and up and up, and they cut it in half.
I don't know,
This is all a lot.
that's what we're treating, so I think we're, when you come in and extract it.
Okay. And one thing in your statement, you say budget income was 380,000. In our approved budget, it was 158,000.
The budget that we were provided, the audit shows, remember, this is 308. So UTS and the difference in that time. We're not provided that, but what we were given shows 308.
That's strange. What was approved was 158. And then I guess when we approve a budget, it's on a cash basis, and then when you prepare it, it's on a full basis. Is that apples and oranges, or do you
Modified control.
modify it?
It's permitted, but yeah, that's, we need to do a budget statement. That's something that developers use. Going forward, we could make it more clear in the notes that that basic budget, that'd be helpful.
In the regional budget, we plan for transfers of 123,000, and they wound up at 2,000,008. Is that something that you might comment on footnotes? And it's a huge difference.
No, the place that management could have discussed it isn't the management special analysis up front, narrative, they can explain it there. Now, under the standards, only thing that are required to disclosure, you have expenditures, so spend more than budget for expenses, not so much for transfer money from the fund.
I think it's explained in print.
Yeah, it's in turn, I mean, you're basically, you're moving money entirely to the budget, to the fund. It's not like you're paying it out to a third party.
Okay. Then on the capital equipment fund, you quoted here, like, capital equipment purchases, capital equipment purchases, which are not normal operating expenses. But then in our capital equipment fund, we have office supplies, minor equipment, bank service charges, expenses. Does that seem inconsistent with your statement, or is that?
Once again, either. Generally, that disclosure in the footnotes for purpose of fund is generally what the fund is used for, time after the pool. So, I mean, they've already issued, debt by some point.
John, you're referring to line items that have those lines. So line item, if you look at the there is no money for the line item.
What is expenses?
There are no expenses for office, right? The expenses in the capital equipment fund are for the purchase of capital equipment, trucks, motors, police cars, not for operation, not for bank charges or for anything. If they're posted, they're in error and we will correct, but it's only to purchase the capital equipment, not in operation.
Did you guys get to that end of your discussion?
I just wanted to just ask you, so I feel like a lot of the discrepancies perhaps have to do with the fact that we switched to the modified accrual. That makes it a little more confusing, but my understanding is that is a temporary transition. We're not planning to stick with that method.
Yeah, that was my understanding as well. These steps.
Right. So it's not that we chose a method that is not approved, this is a transition.
It's a big change, we could change your report, then you're not able to make a transition.
Well, there's that difficulty then all throughout the year, the cash base, and then at year end, it's full basis, so $300,000, $600,000. Seems like a lot of things.
Thank you, John. Any additional questions or comments? We thank you for your presentation. Sorry to keep you up late. Actually, thanks for coming. Public comment. Going down, you see the English Gordon Light Foundation name. Thanks for your
My name is Claire Michelle Blagel, and I'm here on behalf of the Chester County Library and the Henrietta Dayton branch, Chester Springs, right down the road. There are two upcoming programs that I would like to share with you and the residents tonight. The first is the Chester County Library Holiday Craft Show. It's returning. Of course, returning on Saturday, December 10th, also same day. Right. It's at the Chester County Library in Exton, and it goes from 9:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. Our show highlights the creative spirit of the fine artist and craftsperson with an exceptional selection of maker-designed goods. Items for sale include jewelry, pottery, glass, woodworking, book arts, and more. And I have flyers for that. Second, both libraries conduct a winter family read aloud program during February of 2023, targeted toward supports kids from first through sixth grade. This program stresses the value of reading out loud even after learning to read independently. Registered families will receive a calendar for the month of February where they will report how many minutes they read each day. At the end of the month, families who read at least 7 hours or about 15 minutes per day will receive a free book and a raffle ticket toward the grand prize, which is a tote bag filled with a cozy blanket, books for kids of all ages, snacks, and a jigsaw puzzle. The library would like to thank the Friends of the Library for sponsoring this year's event. That's all I have for today. If anyone would like a flyer for the holiday craft show, I brought extra.
We could put it out for you. No
Well,
problem.
yeah.
I'll put it out in
It'll
the.
get that, sure.
Oh, okay.
Make sure they get the right choice.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Very
Thank you.
Sarah,
thank you.
election day, I want to talk about it real quick. I understand there's some kind of issue in the lobby, that, you didn't want people campaigning there, or the township didn't. And, so I guess it got resolved, but from what I'm understanding, it had something to do with somebody breaking a table, and you guys didn't want them in there anymore.
I'm going to ask John to address that, but it was not about the breaking the table, was not causing it. That was just something that happened.
It was primarily the result of communications we had with the representatives of the county about noise modification, that's the phrase used. So I had mistakenly thought that the election bureau was in charge of that space out there. The city was in charge of that space, so whatever happened this year will be the last year anyone in that space will be lobbying. Same thing with the stairwell, the walkway up to the building. They are areas where the politics can take place. There are areas where conversation can happen, but not politics. We respect the sanctity of the vote in this room.
Well, it's interesting because there's never been complaints before about it. There was never issues with it. It's been a precedent since the building was built. But, there's never been a complaint. The Republicans have never had any complaints with anything, and I don't know if the Democrats have. Not really heard anything about it. We've worked in harmony together. What's that? Yeah, right. Well, in fact, the Republicans protected the Democrats' ability to free speech and helped them carry the table in and everything. So everybody worked together, and I don't see what the problem is and why you do that to people. It's never been loud there. It's never been an issue.
I understand the complaints coming from people who operate election people in this building, not from either political party, and I respect their request to have noise behind.
No,
Because the complaints coming from the voters and people who are working.
John, that's weird too, because there was a discussion between George Dolcina and the Joe, and she said she had no complaints and didn't care what they did. So
I'm telling you, the police have access up there, whether they were resolved or not. I wanted to eliminate that.
I don't.
Obviously, I need to eliminate the one thing down too. So I'm losing this battle. I will leave it up to the board of supervisors to make the correction.
I think that would be great, because I think they'll protect everybody's right to be in that lobby, because
What they
it's
do,
all
they do.
it's not fair to either one of us. We work in harmony and sing kumbaya and be each other's team.
It's your building, your space, your election, you should make the rules. I was trying to be nice, apparently I was not being nice, and I leave it up to the board of supervisors to make the rules, and everybody live by it.
Can I ask
Okay.
what's going on in the firehouse?
Yeah, everybody,
there.
people can be inside. People can be inside the firehouse.
You listed to sure they were all outside.
This was a nice day. They wanted to be out there, but they would be inside. There was no problem with fire.
You were this.
Yeah.
I would love you to, I can't remember, I was in the lobby when somebody broke that table, and it was either George Felchinos or Jeff Goldberg. Do you remember what it was? I sat on it right here, but
That table's been working for years.
it was, I,
That tank, if it's broken, I don't know what.
I was standing there, I heard it crack. So,
You did talking, going about fixing it.
I think it was good.
Yeah.
um,
It's certainly, hey, to have a face.
I'm just telling you that happened, and this year something else went down. We don't know who did it, but it is there. I'm not interested in blaming anyone. So, thank you for your comments. Julia's waiting with her.
And thank you, we'll talk closely to the other one, but I would hope that they have the right to keep using township a public building to do their last minute campaign because people do enjoy it.
No,
They're not crowded like they used to be, where people jammed into them. We refined all that, a few years ago, and we'd like to continue that. And John would agree with that.
and I expect that beautiful weather in the spring will be the last time we're voting here, because this space is not adequate for a presidential election.
All right, fair enough. Thank you for your time.
For a big general election, we're really pushing the limits here.
You got it. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Mary, I'll just give my opinion. The only thing that I think we should consider not having someone at the door, I think that happens. I don't really appreciate that.
No, I don't think you
Because
guys
those are-
think it blocks, I think they're either in or they're at the bottom of the ramp, but
You don't need someone holding the door and making
No, no.
you feel uncomfortable walking in. That's
No,
the
that-
only thing I object to.
it used to be way worse. I mean, we used to be right there, but we did get that closed down about 4 or 5 years.
And I used to call a friend on my way and let me talk to you on it.
Yeah, actually, we'll talk to someone.
Okay, Julia.
Hi there, Julie Brindle, 72 Black Springs Road. The other night we were here and there was a planning commission meeting, and a question that I asked what had to do with our certificate of occupancy or use of occupancy permit that we have here in the township. And it was not the right place to ask it, and Sarah said, come and ask it at this meeting. So as a real estate agent, I know we don't have a UNO or a CO on a resale here in this township, so we don't do them all the time. But there are areas that do them all the time. And when we have an inspection and the inspector comes through and says, you've got a cracked sidewalk, you have to replace that cracked sidewalk, but we've got closing in a week, what do? We issue what's called a temporary, and in the temporary, it says the portion of sidewalk needs to be replaced within a certain amount of days, but the certificate of occupancy is still issued so that the person that's moving into the house can move in. If they don't have a certificate of occupancy or use an occupancy permit, technically they're not allowed to move into the house. They buy it and they're out on the street. And it does happen a lot. It happened a lot with COVID, where we had people that were buying new construction and they couldn't get appliances. And without a range, you cannot get a certificate of occupancy. So what were people doing? They were getting, I guess, a temporary use and occupancy or certificate of occupancy. The question came up regarding the converted barn on Birch Run Road. So, and I said in the meeting, I think he did a beautiful job with his renovation. The fact that he put the 5th unit in there, I don't agree with that. He said he took it out. But the question was brought to, somebody said, well, do you have a certificate of occupancy? And that's when I asked the question, don't we have a temporary CO or a temporary UNO? Because I know that as much as it's aggravating because he didn't do what he was supposed to do in the first place, it seems as if he's working towards the resolution. Yet there are 4 tenants living in that building that does not have a certificate of occupancy. That can end up being a problem down the line if there ever is a problem. I don't know all the legal ramifications of it. If there's a fire and the insurance company finds out that there's no certificate of occupancy for that building, can the insurance company say we're not going to pay for anything? Like, these are problems. And as I said, I know this guy's working towards it. He's trying to get the things done. He's working up there every day. Is it possible that we can have a temporary certificate of occupancy in this township? Is it something we've ever done before, or is it something that we absolutely won't do? That's my question.
All right, I'll back up a little bit. New construction, there has never been an inspection of the dwelling unit even issue a temporary occupancy permit. I will not issue a temporary occupancy permit without an inspection. The inspection will say, here's 5 things you gotta correct. If they're okay, you'll get a temporary occupancy permit. If they're not okay, you won't. But there's never been an inspection for a permanent or a temporary. That's the problem.
Wait, no,
No, you do not have inspection for a use of occupancy permit.
at the zoning hearing board hearing, Matt Spellman said that he inspected the units. And my understanding is he did not get his certificate of occupancy, not because of the units themselves,
Right.
but because of the plans not being submitted. Right.
So we need to differentiate issues like 4 units.
Right.
Or in the barn, if unit was out of permit.
Right. Well, yeah, I understand that. In the meeting the other night, he said there, the people have moved out of that, there's nobody there.
So,
Yeah,
well, temporary certificate of occupancy, the mechanism where there was 1 minor, 2 minor things. She said, range needs to be purchased, a crack in the sidewalk. In this case, the applicant, I'm not gonna speak at length about it because it is currently before the zoning
Right.
board. There were issues related to the actual completion of the improvements plan,
mhm,
such as stormwater and sewage pipe.
Right.
So they were substantial issues. And they wouldn't necessarily, you would say it was just issues of temporary occupancy.
right, okay.
So there is differentiation. There are certain circumstances where I would say it makes sense to issue a temporary occupancy permit, but not in this case.
Okay,
In that case, the one you're referring.
right. So my question is, do we issue temporary COs in this township?
To my knowledge, the answer is yes, but in this case, no. Like I said, I mean, there have been temporary issued in the past, I believe, and something to do with the normal case. Done it in every community I've worked in. It's not something out of the ordinary.
Okay, well, the other night when I asked the question, nobody seemed to know.
Well, it's not, it's an administrative task.
Right. I understand that.
Right. Or you have to ask he believes, the circumstance would be related to when he feels comfortable issuing temporary occupancy permit. So,
Yeah, it's solely in the hands of the BCO. By law, he's required to do one of the things, issue a temporary, if it's permanent or not issue at all. And he has legal standing to do that. No one else can do that.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, that makes sense. No, nobody could answer the question whether we even did it.
Yes.
Because I know that for a long time, it wasn't something that for a resale, we had to push settlement on. We couldn't even do it, and then all of a sudden they started saying, well, it's temporary one.
Yeah, we resell it.
think that planning commission member.
No, they didn't know, but the discussion was going on, and somebody asked him the question, do you have a CO? And of course, he had to say no. So, and my concern is not necessarily for him, but my concern is for the 4 tenants that are living in the building right now. And what's the resolution to get everything where it needs to be so that they're actually living there legally? Because they didn't do anything wrong.
We have that concern as well, why the owner of that property is in the situation, trying to get him to a point.
I have one more question. So another thing that was brought up at this meeting was stormwater management. And I know that there's a new stormwater management plan that you guys are going to be probably voting on maybe in the next meeting. And one thing that, we talk about with stormwater management is, everybody's always concerned, this person's property is getting all of this, water that they never got before and everything like that. And my opinion on it, and hey, how much is my opinion worth, is we don't need to beat up the people that are trying to build, the people that are building new construction, because if anything, when you put in a new stormwater management system, especially with all of the things that are going to be required in new construction, there's probably going to be less stormwater coming off the property than there was even before it was built. But we have a lot of places in our township that old stormwater management systems, ponds that used to act as stormwater management that are not being maintained. Now we have problems because people, so there was a development built 30 years ago, there was a stormwater management, system put in. I can tell you 9 times out of 10, it usually ends up being, sometimes it's an HOA issue, but sometimes it's the owner that actually owns that lot, and they don't even know that they're the person that's responsible for maintaining that system. I think that we need to look at that as a township and try to remedy those problems. Because yes, people definitely are having problems, but at the same time, you can't put it all on the people that are trying to build new. Some people have to have responsibility for maintaining the systems that are on their property now.
You just said that we don't need to keep people up who are building a house. Do you feel that we are doing that, or
Well, I know
that maybe the changes that we want to make to our
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. So it sounds as if the county, this is what the county said is requiring, but some people on that committee want to add on to it. And I understand where, yes, you need to have, you need to adopt this stormwater, ordinance. However, I also think that we need to go back to some of these properties that are not maintaining their systems or not dredging their pond that actually used to collect a lot of the stormwater before it all washes downstream. I think there needs to be somebody, whoever it is, whether it's a committee, whether it's one person that goes around and looks at all of these different properties, because I know that there's a lot of them that, the reason that you're getting water now is not because there was a new construction built up the road, last year or something like that. It's because the person that has the water retention basin on their property that they're supposed to be maintaining has let it go and it's no longer functioning.
It sounds like you really very clearly understood what Ted Ivey was saying.
Yes.
About properties built since, what did you say, 2002,
Yep.
2003 are not the issues, it's the 1985.
Yep.
At that point. This ordinance, as you heard in several review meetings, is to meet requirements coming down from the state and the county.
Right.
About how we need to improve our ordinance.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this project is about. What you're talking about in trying to manage existing systems. I really like that John projects we don't need to increase our taxes anytime soon.
Right.
And we were going to go even inspect all of the existing, how many places where somebody's just paying the driveway no longer digs at the swale
Right.
at the bottom
Sure.
of the driveway. And well, wait till you're up here, will you propose that budget change?
Well, I mean, everybody people are complaining about their, about water coming down from the house that was built. And somebody said something in the meeting the other day. And do we even know? And that was the question to that person was, do we even know if that system is functioning properly?
What's an education?
Right.
Part of it is it's education, but there is an issue of where township's responsibility ends. And we can identify these basins, but to go to the next step, it's going to require an expense. Township engineer do the calculations. It's going to take a survey of how a basin changes its character by siltation.
Right.
So in order to determine how much siltation is, it's going to require a survey of the basin. And how much dirt has got to be removed from the basin in order to get it functioning back to where it was. Who's going to pay for that? That's the issue. It's a private basin. Can the township expend public money to repair a thing owned by the public or by a private individual? That's a question that is huge and will go towards resolving this particular issue. We have worked with some HOAs who have spent their own money, and they asked us for advice in terms of plants and that kind of stuff. We'll work with people who are willing to spend their money, but we cannot spend public money to improve privately owned stormwater basin.
And you know,
I'm
there's,
trying to, you can figure that question out. But it's a huge expense to survey the basin to determine, survey the basin to determine the carrying capacity prior to determining whether we have to go back to its prior original condition. And then, have a contractor come to it and inspect the work and make sure that the work is done in accordance with the original plan. We're talking, I don't know, $40,000-$50,000 worth of engineering work.
But isn't there anything that when you own a home and you have a stormwater basin on your property,
Right.
is there nothing in our township code that says you have to maintain that basin?
It may be in the older subdivision requirements, so there's an HOA, yes. But, HOA boards change on an annual basis. People move in and out. Nobody does anything, they're a lost stepchild.
and
That's the problem.
It's usually a note on a plan,
Yeah.
but, to go back into the plan.
But-
Years old.
But it's.
Julia, I would imagine if there was something existing, you would find it when you're doing due diligence for the clients.
Well, yeah, but
So you're not seeing them, so you know that.
no, there's a lot of, especially with the HOAs, we will come across it's actually on your deed. And it'll say that you're responsible for the basin
Right.
and maintaining the basin. And I always tell my clients, don't buy that house because you're responsible for that basin. So we go find something else.
No, but I do want to just say that, Pennsylvania is a very strong property rights.
Right, I
state.
understand that.
And so there's an individual responsibility for maintaining one's own property and not having too much intrusion from the municipality. So it's a very tricky balance.
In order maintenance, the private home is, I'll maintain it, I'll cut the grass. And if the grass is growing and it's growing for 5 years, and he's cutting the grass he's maintaining, but the volume of water is decreased because there's that much more sediment moving into the basement, he never knows that. Doesn't get it. That's the problem.
And John has asked the EAC to come up with some resources for homeowners, including how to manage stormwater on your own property. If you have a stormwater feature, a rain garden, a basin, or whatever, a swale, to prepare those materials.
And that would come under education. That would come under.
And I think we're also kind of exploring how resources to help people figure out the problem. Again, that falls into, do we send out our engineers at our expense and then we're responsible for whether or not they do things right? So there's a lot to be wrestled with there.
But the EAC has the charge to help come up with information that you and I can apply on our own property or share with our.
Right, well, I think as I say, with the new stormwater ordinance that you're trying to push through, I think it's also important to do something about the existing problems and making sure that they're taken care of.
No question about it.
Okay, Barry.
I'm sorry, I had to come back. I just forgot to ask real quick, at the very beginning of the meeting, you mentioned the Hollow Road Birch Run Bridge.
It's the bridge on State Route 1030
So,
over the French Creek.
so it's over the French Creek.
No, over the Birch Run,
Over the
I'm
Birch
sorry,
Run. Where's that located on Hollow Road?
at the intersection of Birch Run and Hollow Road. At the meeting house.
Oh, okay. Got it. Actually, it's on Birch Run.
It's on Birch Run at the.
Right down
junction
that, just
with
that little
Hollow.
tiny bit, okay. I was just wondering where that was. Okay, that's, yeah.
At the meeting house.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody else? Any other issues from the board? New business, old business? Yes, come on down.
We're just gonna officer would hang out there, just getting tickets out. Getting the mail on St. Matthew's anymore. I just got the newsletter today and I had just a minute to read through it. And we're proposing to have 2 pickleball courts up here and a new playground. Why does West Vincent have to be the entertainment township of the Chester County.
The pickleball courts
Parks.
were requested by township residents. The playground up there now, when you have a playground, the equipment is designed for a specific age group, age group 1, 2 to 5, or 5 to 12. You typically will not have a younger child play on the same equipment that older child has, because it's more difficult, more dangerous on the road. This playground is for smaller children. In the past, and it was built 16, 17 years ago when this building. In that intervening time, the number of older kids in the township has grown, and there is no playground other than a school where they can come and play. I have watched that playground grow, the number of people at the playground grow over the period of time. We're connecting the Weatherstone community to the park with the Cushing Fellowship Trail. We believe there will be an increasing need for that age group for a small recreation area for the playground for the older kids at the park.
Well, it seems like most people in West Vincent Township have backyards and we have all these beautiful passive parks that we can use. I totally don't think we need pickleball courts and another playground. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Uh-oh, Mr. Marsh. We're trying to go home, honey.
Technology, trouble one day with land for trying to talk about burning courts. Supervisor who is not here. And he doesn't know I'm going to do this. Bernie is a heart transplant recipient. That means that his body chemistry is set up to suppress his immune system. And that makes him easily infected by various things. And I believe that an appropriate response from the Bernie and his family is for those who work regularly, physically closely with him, wear masks. And I suggest that those at the front table consider this. Thank you.
Are there any? Get down, come on down. I think we've got a couple of people who haven't been at the microphone yet. Okay.
Ken Allen, 21. Thank you for that report, Ted, and for letting me speak to the Congress. As a commissioner on Parks and Recreation, as John had mentioned, the proposal was just that. It came from the township resident, actually several residents. And so as a commissioner, and I hope to speak for the rest of them, we encourage you all to come to our meetings and discuss any topics that you'd like to at any time. Thank you.
Excellent. Okay. What was once, twice, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I would like to make that motion.
Thank you very much. Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.